Hi, I'm Chuck Gibson. This is a special holiday presentation of Loveland Beacon Talks. On Sunday afternoon, December 15th, the very talented brass players of River's Edge Brass Band will perform in concert at St. Columban Church. This unique brass arrangement of Christmas music is spectacular and will also feature St. Peter and Chains Cathedral organist Blake Callahan on their amazing concert finale. It is my pleasure now to introduce solo cornet player Scott Seward to tell us all about River's Edge Brass Band and the concert. So welcome, Scott Seward from River's Edge Brass Band. Welcome to Loveland Beacon Talks. Thank you so much for joining us today to share your story. And for the listeners, Scott, you're a board member with the River's Edge Brass Band here in the Cincinnati area. And what we're going to talk about is your holiday concert tour with a focus on your visit here in Loveland to the St. Columban Church for a concert stop on Sunday, December 15th. So how are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Trust me, it's my pleasure, and I'm really eager. I'm going to act like I don't know anything about you guys, and I just want you to share the story. First off, what is River's Edge Brass Band? Tell us a little bit about the band first.
Well, the River's Edge Brass Band is a British-style brass band. Now, what that means is we're modeled after literally hundreds of bands based in England. They're amateur groups, usually formed in towns or by companies. And they originally formed just to offer the workers in those towns or those companies an evening activity to keep them out of the pubs, literally. And the brass band plays all conical bore brass instruments, so that means there are no trumpets in this group.
Okay.
It's all cornets, flugelhorn, tenor horn, baritone, euphonium, trombone, tuba in two different keys, and then there are some percussion instruments that supplement us as well.
Well, very cool. I'm going to interrupt you real quick because the euphoniums. I don't know if the listeners are going to be more familiar with that than I am, but tell me a little bit about the euphonium. I can horns, baritones, trombones, tubas, and percussion stuff. I can get that, but what's a euphonium?
It kind of fits between the baritone and the tuba.
Okay.
So it's larger than a baritone, not as big as a tuba. Very virtuosic instrument. It's got it's a wonderful solo voice instrument. It would be like a baritone soloist, vocalist. Not that the baritone can't do that, but the euphonium's got a mellower sound to it. And we happen to have two professional musicians who play in our euphonium section. So it's a standout section in the River's Edge Brass Band. I love listening to those guys.
That sounds wonderful. You're talking to somebody who loves brass. So I don't know a lot about music, but I know the sounds I love, and brass is one of them. And I have been privileged because River's Edge has visited St. Columban Church before, and I did attend that concert. And I can tell the listener, it is a treat. You guys just sound wonderful.
Well, thank you. And the instruments blend because of that similar construction. There's a blend that happens. That if you hear a professional symphony orchestra brass section, of course they blend perfectly. I mean, they're all of them play with such centered and perfect sounds. But it's just a slightly different ethos and the writing for the brass band, because we have to carry all the parts. There's no strings and woodwinds. It's quite demanding on the chops. The evil thing about brass instruments is that it takes more strength to play, and we get more tired more quickly than any other instrument because of basically the pressure on our lips. So other instruments have their own issues to deal with that I wouldn't want to face if I played them. Every instrument has things that make it really difficult. But for brass players, and the smaller the mouthpiece, the more demanding it becomes. in terms of endurance and trying to play in an efficient manner so you're not getting tired. So you take a concert at St. Columban, we're playing 2 sets and very little rest. It's almost from the time you start, you're playing the entire time. One piece in particular I want to highlight is the sing-song organ symphony finale.
Right.
This is not a holiday piece, but it's so tremendous because we're going to be using the St. Columban organ, and the organist is Blake Callahan, who's the organist at St. Peter and Chains Cathedral. This piece, again, the brass players are covering all the string parts. So it's 10 minutes, and in the brass world, we call it a blow fest, where you're just blowing. And it's also quite loud. So if you are sensitive in that department, it might not be your favorite piece of music. But my old band director used to say 2 things make music exciting: speed and volume. And this piece has got both. So very, very exciting.
Well, Scott, I'll tell you what, I think if people are listening right now, as they listen, what I just heard is, gives me a much greater appreciation for those guys playing the brass instruments like yourself. Scott, what's your instrument in this? What's your specialty?
Well, now let me say that we have 4 women who play in our group as well. So,
I'm sorry, I said guys. Yeah, I shouldn't have done. See that? You caught me. I'm sorry.
Well, no, that's okay. I just want to make sure we highlight the contributions of. We have some wonderful female musicians. I am in the solo cornet section, so I'm in the first row, and the cornet section is broken into 3 parts, and then there's a couple auxiliary parts that probably get more detailed than it's worth to go into for a podcast. But it's weirdly in the British brass band tradition. There's a 3rd cornet section, a 2nd cornet section. There's no 1st cornet section. Those firsts are called solos, solo cornets. It's not that we play solos. It's just what they call it. I can't explain it.
Well, that's a great explanation. Well, hey, I said we were going to talk a little bit about, because you guys, in mid-month here in November, a couple of weeks ago, announced the holiday concert tour here in Greater Cincinnati, a 3-concert tour. So I want to give you a chance to say something. Again, ultimately, the final stop is going to be the St. Columban. But I want to give you a chance to mention that 3-concert tour and when it kicks off and where you're going to be. So people who may not make it to St. Columban will have an opportunity to hear you before that. So.
Yeah. So at St. Columban, we love playing there. It's a great venue for brass.
Thank you.
But that's where we finish. But we will be starting this Sunday at the Norman Chapel at Spring Grove Cemetery. Mm-hmm. That's in the afternoon at 2:00. We're not doing the same song there. We're doing everything else, holiday music. But another great venue for us is our home base, and that's the next week, and that is at Armstrong Chapel, United Methodist. That's an evening show at 7 p.m. And we're doing the same concert there as we're doing at St. Columban.
Well, and that one, Scott, I wanted to throw this in. If I'm correct, and correct me if I am wrong, but so that the Indian Hills Armstrong Chapel, United Methodist Church, Sunday, December 8th at 7 p.m. Mm-hmm. But what I wanted to throw in, that's the historic Armstrong Chapel. Am I right?
Well, the historic chapel is actually across the street.
I got you.
Yeah, so that's a little too small.
I was going to say, because I had an image in my mind from going by there. That's a pretty small. That would be a pretty small venue, but that's the connection. That's that Armstrong Chapel has great, rich tradition and history overall, regardless.
It does, and it's a beautiful church to play in, and it's like I said, that's where we rehearse. That's our home venue, and it's a really great spot for us. And I want to also highlight that the band is fortunate to have one of the finest wind conductors in the country as our music director. That's Dr. Kevin Holtzman, who is the director of wind studies at the College Conservatory of Music at EC.
Yeah. Now, Scott, this is going to be fun, and I did take note that Dr. Kevin Holzman is the band's artistic director and as you said, division head of ensembles and conducting at UC's College Conservatory of Music. Now, this is fun for me. So you're going to be shocked to hear this, I'm sure. I am a graduate of the College Conservatory of Music.
That's great. What can you say what year you graduated? Because I am too.
Well, this is why I always have so much fun with this, because I'm from the poor stepchild of the College Conservatory of Music. So 1984 was the class, but what was then called the Broadcasting Division, which has gone through several iterations and is now some sort of digital media production facility. But anyway, in 1984, the class of 84 included Chuck Gibson in the broadcast division of the College Conservatory of Music. So I like to have fun with that. Trust me, Scott, I do not have any of the musical talent you guys are going to share with us.
Well, the group is we're looking to diversify. We're looking to welcome new members if they have the commitment to want to play with us. But there's a lot of current professional players who play with us. There's some retired music teachers that play with us. Oh, yeah. Our flugelhorn player is Jeff Fulkins, who is the lead trumpet player in the Blue Wisp Big Band. So the group is loaded with talent, and it's still an amateur group, and only in the sense that we're not paid for this. So there's a lot of talent. Our band president, Ben Bazzone, was the director of the choral program at Walnut Hills High School, and is at Armstrong Chapel and directs their church choir. So if Dr. Holtzman can't conduct us, there's probably 15 people who could do a very credible job of backing him up and conducting a rehearsal. So we're unique in that sense.
You guys have a very talented group there. It sounds as though, I think I cut you off when we were talking about the Indian Hill appearance on Sunday, December 8th, and we would be remiss. I'm assuming that performance is still going to include organist Stace Haney for the.
That's correct.
Yeah, so I wanted to give you a chance to give a plug out to Stace there for anybody that may be attending at Indian Hills Armstrong Chapel instead of the St. Columban.
Yeah. No, we rehearsed that. We rehearsed it with him a few weeks ago, and when we hit the first chord with organ and all the brass at full stops, the reverberation lasted. I didn't even want to put a timer on it. It was tremendous. So it works best. Obviously, that piece works best for orchestra. That's what it's written for. But we think we're a pretty good substitute. So
that'll work. Well, anyway, so that brings us to, and you've talked about it a little bit, but and we have talked about, obviously, my home, St. Columban Catholic Church here in Loveland, for the final stop on Sunday, December 15th at 3 p.m., if I've got that correct.
You've got it correct, yeah.
And you already mentioned, a great shout out to organist Blake Callahan, who will be your guest organist from the St. Peter and Chains Cathedral. Will join you for St. San's finale. Yeah. But what else do you want to say? I mean, the holiday concert tour. Tell us a little bit. Besides St. San's, what can they expect to hear during these concerts?
Yeah, there's a mix of traditional and traditionally arranged, meaning pretty close to what you would normally hear, like let's say Sleigh Ride. We're doing Sleigh Ride, the Leroy Anderson classic, and that's pretty close to what you would ever always hear played on the radio, or if you have a recording of it. It's still fun, but that's just an example of something that we would be doing. But we're also venturing out and doing some things that are holiday related, or sometimes stray from the traditional arrangements. So, Three Kings Swing is the Three Kings, Weekly Kings of Orient are, but it's a jazz arrangement and a very creative one of that carol. we're doing a beautiful Ave Maria that's meant for several different choirs of brass, but it's you can YouTube a vocal recording of this. And it's not the Schubert Ave Maria. It's this is a more modern version, but beautifully arranged. There's a few fanfares, like I said, a couple medleys, like an English Christmas, which just takes a bunch of British Christmas carols and throws them together. And we're even doing a carol sing-along. So if you want to participate with a professional group playing behind you, you can sing along with us, and we're going to have somebody singing with you, so you don't have to feel conspicuous.
I was going to say with the professional brass group behind me, will that make my singing sound better?
Well, that and the person that we've got singing with you, she's a talented young woman who is a nurse practitioner at Children's Hospital.
Oh, wow.
And plays in our solo cornet section. So she's extraordinarily talented, and she's got a beautiful singing voice. So she'll be leading you, and you can just jump right in and double her and have a good time and think you sound like $1 million.
Excellent. Well, listen, Scott, thank you so much. You know what? I promised you that we wouldn't take too long, so I think we're right on, about 15 minutes right now. So is there anything you want to add, inviting the people out or to tell them why this River's Edge Brass Band holiday concert is special, or what makes it special for you? What do you want to tell them as we wrap up?
Well, I mean, brass bands and the holidays are, I shouldn't say brass bands, just brass music. Brass music and the holidays just seem to go hand in hand. We're heralding the holiday season. It's joyful. It brings lots of cheer, and I just think that it's one of the most enjoyable ways to experience or connect with holiday traditions is by listening to brass music perform some of these beloved music.
Outstanding.
So I'd encourage everybody to come.
Outstanding. Well, listen again, Scott. Listen, thank you so much for taking the time to join us here on Loveland Beacon Talks. And a reminder for everybody, it will be, there's 3 dates, obviously. This Sunday, December 1st at Norman Chapel Spring Grove Cemetery in Northside, followed on Sunday, December 8th at 7 p.m. show at the Indian Hills Armstrong Chapel United Methodist with also organist Stace Haney on the St. Son's finale. And then the final stop, which is what we're really excited about here in Loveland, is the final stop Sunday, December 15th, 3 o'clock at St. Columban Catholic Church with organist Blake Callahan, from St. Peter and Chains Cathedral, joining for that finale of St. Son's. And Scott, listen, hey, happy Thanksgiving, and again, thank you so much for joining us. Last thing, is there a website or like a www whatever for people to check into River's Edge Brass Band? I'm putting you on the spot, my friend.
Well, I do the website, so you're really not. It's riversedgebrass.com is the website.
Okay.
And you can look us up on Facebook and Instagram as well. And just, type in River's Edge Brass Band and you'll find us.
Perfect. Well, again, one more time, thank you so much for taking the time, Scott. It was a pleasure talking with you here on Loveland Beacon Talks.
Happy to join, and we'll see you on the 15th.
Absolutely, 100%. See you then. Thanks again, Scott, for joining us here on this special holiday presentation of Loveland Beacon Talks. Remember, everybody, join us at St. Columban Church Sunday, December 15th at 3 p.m. for River's Edge Brass Band Christmas Concert. Until then, I'm Chuck Gibson saying thanks for listening here on Loveland Beacon. Loveland Beacon Talks is a presentation of Loveland Beacon Digital Media and Gibson Communications, LLC.